Hello, this is Mercury Rises from Clash of Empire, now called Last Land. And we still have a little civil war going on. And if you don't know the backstory, you can go to part 1 and part 2 and watch those. I had decided to make my move this morning. When Gold Kill opened, I was having internet problems. And so all I could do was shield my castles. And so this morning I woke up and my internet issues were over, and I decided I'm going to poke the bear. Well, when Expedition had been chosen at 5 a.m., my assistant had chosen the opponent. They immediately found our location, which I knew that was going to happen, and somebody parked themselves in our hive. Well, my partner took up my castle to his in the wilderness, which was kind of silly. I was shielded, but that's what he did. So I'm sitting in the wilderness, and I had decided to break my shield and sit in cooldown at that time for 30 minutes with him. And he was doing some attacking and stuff on some dead castles. And then I said, well, I'm going to go poke the bear. So now these players that are looking for me, and I am the most wanted and hunted woman in 368 right now. They're bigger than I am. So what do, right? So went over there and I hid my troops immediately and put them in 1 hour rallies on little castles that were around the area. I was in the zoo territory, the zoo hive. They have a lot of castles. They have a lot of farms. There's a lot going on there, and most of them are open. And nobody has seemed to feel the need to shield anything. So now I wasn't going to hit anything. I decided after I had all my men hidden and what had happened, I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to hit any castles and have my troops come back and then have this big guy hit me because he's going to kill me. So I decided I'm just going to scout. So I started scouting, and immediately Bennington showed up and started hitting me. Well, I forgot to leave a man in my castle. I'm like, oh shit. So I went in and took one T9 siege out of my hideout cave that I just happened to have in there. As his men were returning to his castle, I took out a siege and I put the rest back in, because you can't just pull one out of, I think. I mean, maybe I just haven't figured that out. So there was just one T9 siege that I'm working with here. I didn't want to speed any training because I didn't want to risk them hitting my good troops from that. And I didn't have anybody in my hospital to heal. So I just had to hurry up and take one T9 out and put it in the castle and turn my fire off. And then they were done hitting me because they realized there was nothing in the castle. So I had to provoke them, and I started scouting Bennington. I started scouting Ice Girl, as she is the center of this whole thing, and started just scouting all the castles around me. And they at first didn't hit me. I had 2 lines left because my men fit in 3 marches, or actually 2.5 marches. But I don't have a 3rd scout line yet because I'm not C30 yet. I'm almost there, but I'm not. So I'll speed tomorrow and I'll have the C30. And then I have to upgrade my watchtower to get my 6th line. So I had to provoke him, and they finally did hit me. And I also had anti-scout on. He went ahead and hit me. He knew he's tougher than I am. And I don't know if he was just like taking a risk that I hadn't dropped all my men in, but I don't think it would have mattered even if I had. I don't think I could have won that. So I did not do that. And then another couple players showed up, and so he hit me, and immediately I went inside my castle, healed that T9 siege, and put it back in the castle, and turned my fire off and shared the report on KC. And every time somebody hit me with a big march and I killed like 77 men or whatever, my traps killed them, I would share that on KC. And I said, guys, I can do this all day. I've got gold. And somebody said, why are there bugs? And one of the guys said, well, when there's traps, there's bugs. And I don't know what that is in translation, but they were curious about how come he's dying and I'm not. I'm literally got one going to the hospital. And now, of course, most of those were defeats. And but I think there's a report in here that I showed you where one of the players had hit me, that was called player, that hit me with 10 T10 guard, and they all died from my traps just because my traps were activated by one T9 siege. And T9 siege is a defense siege, actually. So they all died. And Ice Girl even asked, how is guard killed by siege? You know, so I'm like, guys, I've shown you guys this trick before. I am pretty certain, but it was in the very beginning of the kingdom. And someone said, oh, you're a professional player. So they were just talking smack or whatever on Kingdom Chat, and I had to go back and read it later. But they're very angry with me, and they're all very upset. And so I'm like, guys, I told Wolf what was going on, and he said to let Angel go. And so I did. And Diablo said, "Oh, you're blaming Wolf for this." And I'm like, "No, I had already let Angel go, and Wolf said to let him attack." So then, right after all this skirmish and everything, and I left and I shielded and all that, um, then Ice Girl actually asked, Wolf came on and Ice Girl asked him for a duel. And uh, right after that duel, and of course Wolf won, right after that duel, she was shielded. Now, I said, "Oh, look, that's funny. All of a sudden, Ice Girl's shielded, hasn't been shielded this whole time." And she says, "There's going to be expeditions, stupid." And I'm like, expedition's like 16 to 17 hours away. Like, there was no reason for her to put a shield on.